Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Matt here, and today we're going to be taking a look at what I believe is the new strongest deck, or the strongest new deck to come to Pokemon TCG Pocket from all of those new cards that came in Shining Revelry, the new booster pack. This is going to be Giratina with Darkrai and Druddigon. So Giratina, I think, is probably the #1 most hype new card to come out of this new set, and it's definitely a really interesting and strong card. In early competitions already today, in the first day of the set release, it has actually done tremendously well. This seems to be the #1 way that people are playing Giratina, and it's actually a very fun list. So we have 2 copies of the new Giratina EX, which does 130 damage for 4 energies. However, we have its ability, which allows us to, and can I pull up the card here so we can take a look at it? This is the immersive art, by the way. I don't want to take a look at it. We have the ability to basically, attach an extra energy, psychic energy, to this Pokemon every turn, however it ends our turn. So basically the strategy with this deck is that we're combining it with Darkrai. We're playing only dark energies in this list because we only need dark energies. That way we can attach those manually to Darkrai, also on our bench, to deal additional chip damage, while leaving Druddigon in the active spot to both soak up damage, act as a buffer, but also do some additional chip damage, which is going to help fix the math with this list. The combo of Druddigon and Darkrai is well known, but now we just have another Pokemon, another stronger attacking option that can set itself up to pair with this deck. It's very simple in terms of its play style. I'm not saying that it's easy to play, but I think that it's easy to grasp how we're playing this deck. And yeah, it's been performing really well. We have a couple copies of Pokeball. We have 1 giant cape, probably going to be going on to that Giratina most of the time because it does damage itself after it attacks, or in some scenarios we could put it on to Darkrai as well. And then we have 2 Rocky Helmet to increase that chip damage as well, just really good when paired with Druddigon. 2 Professor's Research, 1 Sabrina, 1 Cyrus, 2 copies of the new Red, which is going to further boost the damage we're doing to EX Pokemon, further extending the damage output that our Pokemon has, hopefully getting KOs on everything in the entire format. And 2 copies of Leaf to help us go into those Druddigon or out of the Druddigon in the active spot as easy as possible. And then 1 copy of the new Iono, which is sort of a hand refresh here. I kind of just took a look at all of the best performing versions of this deck in this first day of competition, and this was sort of the list that I kind of settled upon. So for the most part, I do think that this is probably the strongest new archetype to come out of Shining Revelry. I think it's actually a really good, strong deck. Now, every deck has its counters. I think that Gyarados is really good as well now with Red. I think that aggro cards, things like Hitmonlee that can hit around Druddigon, a lot of different things I think will be strong against this archetype, so I don't think it's going to fully take over the metagame, but I do think that it is a really strong and fun deck to play. So let's get right into it, guys. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. The support has been phenomenal over the last couple of months, and I really do appreciate it. So anyway, let's get right into it. So I haven't played this deck too much. I play tested it probably like an hour or 2 this morning, and like I said, I think that it's a pretty linear play style. I know some people might not love this particular strategy and how the deck flows. It's very passive aggressive. Again, very much sort of a setup on the backline card, or deck rather. The strategy is very passive in how it works, but most Druddigon decks are that way. And the cool thing about this deck is that it actually doesn't mind going first and second. So this is a really interesting scenario, by the way, where we have Leaf in hand, but we're leading with both Giratina and Darkrai. In a scenario like this, I actually think I would rather lead off with Giratina. They both have a retreat cost of 2. Giratina has more HP, but I think it's a little bit easier to get Giratina set up early enough with its ability here. We are going to bench this Darkrai as well, but we have Pokeball and we have Leaf, so we might be able to pull that Druddigon. As we see, our opponent is probably playing a Druddigon deck as well. Hopefully we can pull our Druddigon off of this Pokeball and then Leaf and retreat and go into that Druddigon while we set up. But the cool thing about this deck, and Giratina decks in general, I think we're going to see Giratina in a lot of different deck lists. A big upside to Giratina is that it isn't a card that really struggles going first. It really doesn't mind going first because we have yet another additional turn, or an earlier turn, in which we can Broken Space Bellow and get one of those energies, right? Because you can use this ability on your first turn. It looks like we're playing Bidoof Druddigon. This is really fun. Definitely really interesting here. So the other counterplay, and there's another Giratina. We don't actually mind that increasing, hopefully, the odds of us pulling this Druddigon. Is it our second Darkrai? It is. Okay, very unfortunate for sure. Going second is fairly cool here, though. I'm not going to bench either of these Giratina or Druddigon, or Darkrai rather, yet. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and manually attach Dark Energy here to the Darkrai. And we're kind of just forced to be a little bit passive here. We could attach this giant cape, however, I don't really know if it's super worth doing it just yet, but we're going to go ahead and Broken Space Bellow here on our first turn. And this is the magic of this list. We're able to manually attach to Darkrai, do some chip damage, while also filling up the energy slots on Giratina with its ability, and it does end our turn, but again, we don't really mind because hopefully most of the time we have Druddigon in the active spot to act as yet another buffer here. Of course, in this scenario, we have all of our Pokemon other than our Druddigon. Of course, that's the type of stuff that happens when we are recording gameplay here on the channel here. And there is a Cyrus. So again, here we're just going to be, oops, excuse me, hit my mic. We're going to be just very, very passive, and we're just going to be very patient. Water and fire energies here. I guess that makes sense because he is playing Druddigon. And we're going to go ahead and just do the old tried and true method of attaching to Darkrai, doing some additional chip damage. If we had a Sabrina, it might be worth playing that Sabrina for sure, but we have not drawn into it yet. And then yet again, we're just going to go ahead and Broken Space Bellow. So when you're playing this archetype, you're going to get a lot of starts just like this, where it's not a super fast-paced, explosive deck. It really is a deck that likes to hang out, you know, chill out, be very, very sort of slow and methodical in the early game, but get two very powerful Pokemon set up, hopefully while doing chip damage all along the way here. And there's a Professor's Research. I think we do play it here. We would love to draw into the Sabrina for next turn so that we can kind of, oh, there it is. That's incredible. Okay, so hopefully he doesn't bench another Pokemon. Shout out to Gold Pokeball, by the way. I did end up pulling this card. And here comes the Druddigon. We have one more Druddigon left in our deck here. We're definitely going to bench this. I think we're still going to hold off on Giant Cape, honestly. And what we could do potentially is, or what we could have done this turn is play Leaf and get the KO on the Druddigon, but I don't think we would rather do that. I think we would rather guarantee or increase our odds to potentially attack this Bibarel next turn, which is exactly what we are going to do. Hopefully he doesn't bench another Pokemon, so Sabrina can guarantee that we bring up the Bibarel. But anyway, we're not going to bench the other Pokemon yet. No reason to. We really only need one Giratina and one Darkrai. We'd rather have a second slot for maybe another Darkrai later in the game, but most of the time, probably two Druddigons so that we're protected from a Sabrina play early in the game. But anyway, let's see if our opponent does end up benching a second Pokemon here. Another Druddigon on our bench, on our opponent's bench rather, would be definitely a little bit annoying because Sabrina, of course, wouldn't go into play here. He gets 3 energies on the barrel. Do we see another Pokemon on the bench? If not, then we definitely are in a pretty decent spot. I would say we can Sabrina, and then we can go ahead and just sort of smack this Bibarel for 130. 130 does sometimes seem like an awkward number to Giratina, and it did to me at first. It definitely isn't super, super great, but again, we're playing Giratina, and that's great for us. Okay, perfect. And we have the Rocky Helmet as well, which is really interesting. So here's the thing. I am actually putting Rocky Helmet on Giratina for one reason, because we are going to Sabrina up this Bibarel and we're going to hit it for 130, and if he does choose to attack us next turn, then he goes down to, I think, 20 HP or 10 HP after the Rocky Helmet damage, and then we should be able to KO with the Darkrai attachment. So we're going to go ahead, attach the Dark Energy to Giratina this turn, because of course we have to. Here, I'm going to go ahead and just put the Giant Cape on Darkrai, because, you know, why not? It probably would have been smarter to put it on Druddigon, actually, now that I mention it, because it is in range of getting KO'd by Carefree Press from Bibarel. Actually, he does heal. I totally forgot to mention he does heal. I forgot, man. I haven't. This is my first time actually playing against Bibarel. But anyway, we're going to go ahead, hit him for the 130. I totally thought that he doesn't heal. I forgot that he heals after he attacks. So even if he attacks us, he's going to go down to 40. So he's going to be out of range no matter what of getting KO'd by the Darkrai effect next turn. So that is a bit unfortunate for sure. But again, the cool part about this deck here is that, look, we have both a Darkrai and a Giratina setup, right? So in most of the Darkrai decks like this, you don't really have the ability to set up two really strong attacking Pokemon all at once, right? That's really the upside to this deck. We have both Giratina and Darkrai, so that if one of them goes down, we have the other one to kind of clean up the game. And it's a really, really strong, I think, system here. And here's the Giant Cape. Not really going to matter, because we are definitely going to just Leaf and go into our Darkrai to finish off this KO, guys. But maybe the Rocky Helmet actually does matter, right? Because of the Giant Cape. Maybe he's going to play Pokemon Center Lady, so maybe the Rocky Helmet damage did matter. But either way, yeah, really kind of illustrating, I think, the power of a archetype like this. By turn 3, by turn 4, we should always have both our Darkrai and our Giratina fully set up with energies, which really does kind of give us, you know, a little bit of some flexibility. So if we do put Giant Cape on Giratina after we attack, we do damage to ourselves, and then we go to 150. However, the upside with also having Darkrai is that, okay, he's going to go ahead and just retreat out. So that's good for us. We also have our Cyrus in hand. A little bit fortunate for sure for us here. But what we can also do, which is a little bit cheeky, is actually, no, I'm not going to mess around with anything like that. So let's just go ahead and be very, very, you know, normal here. I'm just going to bench this other Darkrai. And, excuse me, let's see here. Does it really matter if we... Yeah, let's just go ahead and attach before we Cyrus. It doesn't matter. I was thinking like maybe we could do something crazy like that. But now we're just going to do some more additional damage here, and we are going to go ahead and bring up this Bibarel with Cyrus. I assume our our opponent is probably going to concede at this point. Definitely fortunate for us. We had 6 cards in deck. We had both our Sabrina and our Cyrus, but a very dominant performance here in the first game. I think Bibarel is fun. I actually think it has some potential. I don't think that it's going to be a top meta deck, so we'll see. Like I said, there are specific decks that really do counter this deck that we're playing here, and really every deck has a counterplay, so that's no surprise, but, you know, maybe we're just going to face only good matchups for our deck. And maybe we just steamroll our opponents in this match. Hopefully we don't get, you know, one-hit KO'd by, you know, continuous step Eevee over and over again. If you know, you know. But, yeah, I just definitely was really excited. Now, talking about this new format in general, I do think that Giratina and Darkrai is going to be a pretty solid, significant player in this new metagame. Leading off with a very, very poor hand, but we do have Iono, so that is an upside. Hopefully, Iono might be able to save us here. We are going second, actually, so it could be worse. You know, this might be sort of a scenario where Iono really does kind of shine. And here is Palkia, and Palkia, of course, is a card that is a little bit scary for us because that 150 is kind of enough to KO most times. Hopefully, we don't see a crazy Misty play early on. Okay, so we see a couple Eevees, but they're not continuous step Eevees, so I'm a little bit... there's the turn 1 Sabrina, though. Uh-oh. Okay, it's Tails. Okay, we're getting lucky here. We're a little bit fortunate in these first couple games. I'm probably not going to edit out any gameplay here. I like to just sort of give you guys the true Pokemon Pocket experience because, you know what? You know, when you're playing games in Pokemon Pocket, sometimes things go really well, sometimes they just don't go really well. We are immediately going to play this Iono because I would rather definitely find some other cards here. And let's see what our opponent does as well. Maybe we kind of break his hand as well. I don't think we're going to be playing Iono from a hand disruption perspective, and there's a Druddigon, okay. I think we're mostly going to be playing it from the perspective of, you know, cycling out our own hand. But let's go ahead and just start attaching to the Darkrai. I'm going to definitely put Giant Cape on Darkrai to put it above that 150 HP threshold. I assume our opponent is probably playing red. I think most decks are going to be playing red now. So even 160 HP, we're not safe against a lot of decks in the format. But yeah, talking about the format as a whole, I do actually think that there's going to be significant changes. I know a lot of people really kind of looked at a lot of the new cards, or at least the Pokemon cards, and thought, you know what, I don't think that these, you know, these archetypes are too good or that these Pokemon are too good. But no, I actually think that the format will be changed very significantly for a number of different reasons. This red is actually going to come in super clutch as long as we don't see like a potion or an Irida here, because we might be able to just take the KO on our opponent next turn with red, even if we see a potion here. But we'll see. I'm going to put the Rocky Helmet on the Druddigon just because why not? Unfortunately, we are kind of taking slash chip damage here, but yeah, let's see here. I think even with Irida, what are we doing? So we're doing 100, so we're doing 120 with Irida total in a turn, so yeah, let's see. I guess a potion does kind of put him out of range anyway, which is definitely unfortunate, but yeah, so we'll see what we can do here. He's playing Grass Energy as well, which is interesting. There's the Irida. Okay, so I was gonna say, you know, listen, maybe we weren't gonna see that, but you know, it's totally okay. It is what it is here. We're gonna take another slash damage, but unless he kind of misties and gets an extra energy next turn, we should be in a really decent position here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of forced to just do what we need to do here. Now, let's do some math real quick, right? So we can do 100 damage here, which will bring him down to 50 HP. If he Iridas and potions, I don't think it's ever worth playing red this turn, because we can always just play next turn. So hopefully we don't see a Misty here. That would be definitely a little bit unfortunate if that were to happen. If we get hit with Dimensional Storm, that would certainly be very unfortunate for us. Let's see, does he draw the Misty? Does he hit it? We got lucky on the first one, so if we do see another Misty, I'm assuming he's probably going to flip heads on it. But again, we could get lucky, who knows? Maybe we used Iono and took it out of his hand. You never really know, right? But no, I think the format is actually going to be changed a lot. I think cards like Team Flare Grunt have the potential to really shape the format in an interesting way, as well as, okay, Giant Cape comes down. Okay, we're good. Okay, I was a little bit worried, but I think we're in a good spot. Team Rocket Grunt definitely has a chance to change the metagame pretty significantly. Another Druddigon, sure. And what actually do we want to? I am actually just going to start attaching to the Druddigon. I don't think it's really worth attaching it to the Darkrai yet. At least building up maybe some of pivot. I don't know. I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. We are going to take the KO on this Palkia though. So technically speaking, what we could see next turn is like a Vaporeon attack with red, which would take the KO on us, which would certainly not be great. We haven't seen Giratina yet. We aren't drawing particularly well in this particular game, but it's good to showcase games where we're not really drawing perfectly. This deck is consistent though. I think decks that are playing, okay, so no red this turn, so I think we're safe. Vaporeon does 60 damage, right? I'm pretty sure it does 60. Maybe it does more. I mean, I think we're good anyway. Yeah. Okay, we take the win. There we go. All right, I was very much overthinking everything. I was like thinking of all of these possibilities on how we could possibly lose that game, but no, I think just being a turn ahead, going second is certainly really, really good. But even if we're going first, we have Giratina, which is definitely a card that likes to go first. It's nice to be able to have the potential to like attach an energy on our first turn, because most decks can't do that, and I think it really does build up this deck and give it a really distinct advantage here. I assume we'll probably have a closer game pretty soon here, or maybe we'll lose a game. Who knows? I actually kind of like at least having like 1 or 2 losses on these videos, because like it oftentimes doesn't feel super genuine when you just sort of win every game, but sometimes it goes like that, and this is a very strong deck. But yeah, I think red as well is a card that is very impactful. We're playing 2 copies of it in our deck, but I think that a lot of extra strategies and cards in Pokemon become much more relevant now. Oh, look at this, we get the trifecta. They're much more relevant now, I think, because of red, because now we're able to have that additional reach and KO Pokemon when they have Giant Cape, whereas before we weren't really able to. It also makes some pre-existing Pokemon and archetypes even more dangerous. Okay, so we're seeing a Hitmonlee, probably a Hitmonlee Marshadow deck, which is a very, very good counter to our deck. So very interesting for sure. Like I said, Hitmonlee is always a good counter to Druddigon decks for sure, right? But this is an interesting scenario. So I don't know where I want to put Rocky Helmet yet. I don't think I'm going to attach it anywhere right now. And we are going first, so here's another scenario where we're able to go +1 energy on our first turn, something that we weren't really able to do. And at the end of our second turn, we're going to have 3 energy, so definitely really, really good for sure. But we have Druddigon in the active spot, so we're kind of in a pretty decent spot here, unless our opponent, of course, gets those Hitmonlees going. But even if it does, it's really not like the end of the world, because we can kind of stall out until both Darkrai and Giratina are set up. And I think that's really an upside to this deck. Like I said, it's really, really strong to be able to have 2 different strong attacking Pokemon set up at the same time. Even though, again, the deck is definitely really passive-aggressive, I wouldn't say this is like the most interesting or fastest pacing deck out there. But I do think that the format now is a little bit kind to decks that are a bit slower and setup-y, but also, you know, really aggressive aggro decks. I don't think we play any of the cards in our hand yet. I'm kind of tempted to play Iono, but I think I would rather wait a couple turns to get more value out of Iono. We'll have to see, though. Like, do we really... Because we're not going to be playing red, and we're not going to be playing Cyrus anytime soon, and I don't really know if I need the Rocky Helmet, but I also don't really need any other Pokemon this turn, so I think we're going to wait on the Iono. Well, next turn... Yeah, I think we wait, because we're not doing anything next turn either way, right? So, like, having a Leaf in our hand for next turn wouldn't really matter. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait on the Iono. We'll probably play it next turn, but it would be nice to Iono maybe into a Leaf to be able to retreat out of Druddigon and be a little bit more proactive and attack as early as possible, right? There's the Hitmonlee. He probably has the X speed. Okay, so he is going to start going into his Hitmonlees here. This is good for us, so at least we got like an extra turn of not getting hit by Hitmonlee. But overall, Hitmonlee is definitely a really good strategy when we're going up against, you know, whenever you're going up against a Druddigon deck, Hitmonlee is definitely really, really strong. Marshadow, of course, definitely really scary. I think you could play around archetypes like this. Like if Hitmonlee became exceedingly popular, we could play a couple copies of Potion in our deck. We could even play 1 copy of like Pokemon Center Lady. So there are some scenarios where that is the case. Let's see. So yeah, okay. So Rocky Helmet only works when the Pokemon's in the active spot. So we're not gonna, you know, that's not gonna really help us too much. But like I said, next turn, if we Iono into Leaf, we should actually. Well, we can actually still take the KO anyway next turn, but the turn after that, we should be able to start taking KO. So totally pretty good for us here. I'm not super worried. There's the Leaf, actually. We just draw into it. So, okay. I don't think we really do anything right now. I think we just kind of stick to our guns and we just kind of continue to do the same thing that we've always done. But what we can do next turn, which is really, really fun, is that we can KO the Hitmonlee, but we also have a Cyrus in hand if we want to bring up this Marshadow and preemptively KO the Marshadow before we even KO Hitmonlee, which would be definitely really, definitely a substantial play. Of course, we cannot Cyrus and Leaf on the same turn, so what we might end up doing here is bypassing that entirely and just KOing the Hitmonlee and letting like our Darkrai go down or something like that. Or Giratina. He's targeting Giratina, so I think honestly we should be kind of safe to do that. Okay, so let's see here. I think we always just KO here, right? I don't think there's ever a scenario where we don't KO. I think technically speaking, what we could do is, well, our Giratina is going down in 3 turns anyway. So if we attached to... definitely interesting. We could play Research and try to draw into our Giant Cape, but we are weak to... Oh no, we're weak to Grass. I forgot. Darkrai's not weak to fighting. So I think Giant Cape might actually protect us slightly. are we getting KO'd anyway? Marshadow's only doing 100 damage, so I think we're actually just going to go ahead and take the KO on this Hitmonlee with Darkrai this turn. I was kind of overthinking things a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, I think that this is sort of the play. We go into Darkrai here, we take the KO, and hopefully, I don't think he can KO us unless he has like a red Lucario combo, which to be fair, he might certainly have that combination, but even then, we can go into our Giratina. I was initially thinking maybe we go into Giratina so that, because it's already got damage sort of taken out onto it, but I think that this is actually probably the best scenario either way, and I don't think that Rocky Helmet really helps. I guess I'll put it on the Giratina. We could have saved Giant Cape or Giratina for Giant Cape, but there's no guarantee that we draw into it with 11 cards left in our deck, and I would rather guarantee that we do some chip damage if it does kind of come in. So yeah, let's just take the KO on the Hitmonlee, and hopefully we live the Marshadow attack, because like I said, he is doing plus 20 with red and then plus 20 with Lucario, so if he has both Lucario and red, he will be hitting for 140, which is a bit unfortunate, but we can still go into Giratina and take the KO. So oh, I forgot. He also can't even attack with Marshadow this turn. I didn't even notice. What am I talking about? He hadn't even attached to the Marshadow yet. He's definitely playing Lucario EX, though, which I'm assuming we're probably going to get hit with right now, which is certainly a little bit scary. There comes the Sudowoodo. If he has the Lucario does 100 damage, but he's not hitting for weakness, so he is actually just going to play the X speed and go into probably the Sudowoodo and attack. Yeah, okay. This is not a bad scenario for us. We have Cyrus in hand, so we basically have a guaranteed win condition here. He is going to be doing some very impactful damage on our Darkrai, but since we were able to do some chip damage to that Marshadow early in the game, Cyrus is definitely going to be our win condition. We could get Iono'd, though, to be honest. Like, we certainly could get Iono'd, but let's go ahead. Giant Cape the active Darkrai, because I'd say, okay, we probably should have swapped those two. We should have put Rocky Helmet on the active Darkrai and Cape the bench Giratina. You live and you learn. We're going to play Research, though, this turn, because it'll increase the cards that are in our hand, and then therefore increasing the cards that we would get back into our hand if we were to get Iono'd. And then we thin our deck as well. So this is pretty decent. I don't mind this whole situation here. I am actually going to bench a second Darkrai, because why not? And we're not going to attach to the Giratina yet. We're just going to do this. It's additional chip damage. It doesn't matter. We're KOing the Sudowoodo anyway. But yeah, we have Cyrus in our hand. So unless we get like red carded or Iono'd, we should be in a position here to win next turn just by having Cyrus in our hand. Even if Darkrai goes down, we have Giratina set up. And like I said, definitely such a big upside to this list is having both Darkrai and Giratina almost always set up in the late game. It just is really kind of a bulletproof strategy. And this is our opponent isn't drawing very well, if I'm being honest with you, but this is certainly a matchup that I think would be tough most of the time for the deck that we're playing. Yeah, and our opponent's going to concede. I think he just drew a little bit not great there. He didn't find his Lucario. We didn't lead off with Hitmonlee, but I think in certain scenarios, our deck is very consistent, but in certain scenarios, definitely those Hitmonlee Marshadow decks with Lucario could be very, very strong against our deck. I think our opponent there actually had the favorable matchup. He just didn't end up drawing very well. Let's play one more game. We're on like a 3-for-3 streak here. We've beaten 3 different decks. I think properly showcasing, I've probably made a lot of misplays, and you guys will definitely tell me if I did in the comment section below, but I think we're showcasing this deck pretty properly. The whole point of this video is to showcase how strong this deck is, and it is. It's a very, very strong deck, and like I said, I do think it's probably going to be one of the strongest new decks in the entire game right now. Double Rocky Helmet Red, Professor's Research, Darkrai Start. So the starting hands can be a little bit awkward, and we're going against Mewtwo, so definitely very, very interesting here, but I actually think that this is totally fine for us. We're going first, so we are a turn behind, but we can Rocky Helmet the active immediately and do some additional chip damage. We are hitting for weakness as well, so could be a pretty substantial situation for us here. Let's see, we draw Sabrina and a Pokeball. Okay, so what do we draw off the Pokeball here? Is it going to be a Druddigon? It is. Okay, I would rather actually draw in a Giratina there so that we could have at least used the ability. But let's Rocky Helmet the Druddigon right out of the way here. And yeah, let's go ahead and do our thing. So this is an awkward situation because Mewtwo does 150, and like I said, Giratina, even with Giant Cape, after it attacks, it does 150. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and Giant Cape as well. Interesting scenario for sure for us. We would definitely like to have a Giratina getting started to get set up here. We actually draw into the Leaf, so this is really good. I think we play Leaf for sure before we play... yeah, I think we definitely play Leaf. I don't know if it actually really matters, but I think we're definitely just going to play the Leaf now. It might have been actually better. I don't know. It could have been better to play Research and maybe drawn into the Giratina, but I think I would rather him Psychic Sphere us twice and potentially sort of not you know, be in a position to KO our Darkrai. He could play Sabrina, he could do all of that stuff for sure. But now he has to attack the Druddigon, and he will be taking 40 damage if he does attack us with Psychic Drive. I assume he probably won't even do that, but we are doing some chip damage with Darkrai while we get it set up. Next turn, we'll play Research, hopefully find a Giratina. There comes the Ralts here, just a turn or two late from our opponent, so he's got 2 turns until he's even able to do that. If we see the Psychic Sphere here, that's actually good for us. I think that's actually pretty good. I don't know if he will Psychic Sphere, because 40 damage is a lot, and it's definitely a lot of pressure on our opponent, for sure. So let's see. Okay, so what do we draw here? We draw Cyrus. That's not, like, super great. But I think we're going to just kind of continue down the same road here. Hopefully we draw into a Pokemon. We draw into another Druddigon. That's really good. That's going to protect us from Sabrina, which is exactly what we want to see here. And like I said, Darkrai can do 120 in 1 turn to Mewtwo, hitting for weakness. So this chip damage could be pretty substantial for sure. We also have Red as well, even if he has potions or things like that. But since we're kind of protected from Sabrina, then our opponent is basically forced here to attack a Druddigon, which means we can just go into Darkrai and then take the KO. So we are definitely in a good situation. That second Druddigon, super, super important in a matchup like this. And again, protects you from an early Sabrina, something that is really, really good. Okay, so here's an interesting situation for us here. I kind of want to play Iono. And the reason why I want to play Iono is because we are not attacking for the next turn or two, so I think I would really like to increase my odds to find our Giratina. Having Red in the hand is pretty impactful as well. I think we do. I think we play Iono here. I know it's a little bit interesting. I don't know. I can't take too much time to figure out whether that was the best play or not, but let's go ahead and see what we draw into here with Iono. We do not. Okay, we do not draw into the Giratina. We just draw into 2 more Reds. That's totally fine. Maybe we took a Gardevoir out of his hand there. Either way, should be totally fine. Red as well should help us guarantee that we're taking the KO and Mewtwo next turn. But yeah, basically we're in a scenario now, I think. I don't know what our opponent can really do other than just attack the Druddigon and then die to Darkrai next turn. I think that's always been, and there's Pokemon Center Lady, so Red might really be important here, but I don't know if it really matters because it's so much extra chip damage. Yeah, even Pokemon Center Lady and Potion, bringing Mewtwo up to full HP, does not put him out of range of getting KO'd. Yeah, you're gonna get KO'd, my guy, like no matter how you slice it, which is absolutely hilarious. Still, this is crazy here, so still no Giratina, no Leaf as well, although I think we're playing 2 copies of Leaf in the deck, but we still haven't drawn it. With Red in our hand, we're doing 120, so I think we don't need to attach to Darkrai again, right? Do we really ever have any benefit to attaching to Darkrai? Because he basically just has to, I think we do anyway, because if we draw into Leaf here, then we don't have to worry about any kind of shenanigans, you know, and having to do that additional damage, right? So yeah, let's just go ahead. I was gonna say we could attach to the Druddigon and then we could just retreat up for free, but we can't KO him at full HP. So either attacks the Druddigon or, you know, we kind of draw into Leaf here. He's gonna play the Sabrina, so that did matter here. So he's only taking 20 damage from this Druddigon, but that's why the second Druddigon is so impactful, right? Because it is gonna put him in range perfectly. Even if we see another potion, actually no, another potion would be basically the same deal, right? Because we can do 140 total. So if we see another potion, no, because he's gonna take the rough skin damage. So we've kind of locked our opponent into a scenario here. I don't know how we can win, if I'm being honest with you. If he attacks with Mewtwo here, I think we have him locked down. I really don't think our opponent can do anything here. You know, if Mewtwo had a way to like do chip damage, oh, there's a Giratina. Look at that, cool, pretty cool. Let's try and keep the Giratina. And yeah, we're kind of just waiting to draw into Leaf. I think we have 4 cards left in our deck, so I think realistically we're kind of just waiting. Yeah, I don't think we really need to do anything. Honestly, I don't know what our opponent can do. So we're just gonna go ahead and continue with our strategy. In the next couple of turns here, we should draw into our second Leaf and then potentially just KO this Mewtwo. So once we do that, I think the game's over. I don't know if our opponent has realized yet that he doesn't really have an out. We'll see if he does. I don't know what his out could be. Personally, I don't know what he could do to win the game, but maybe he could do something. There's another Mewtwo. So technically speaking, that is something. But cool thing is that Giratina is KOing as well. We also have a Sabrina to bring up the Gardevoir to KO that if need be, right? So I think we kind of have all of our outs, all of our win conditions in play. Here comes the Gardevoir, pretty cool for sure. But like I said, I don't know what our opponent can really do. What he could do, I guess, is be a little bit like he could be very proactive in the sense that yeah, okay, so he's gonna go into the other Mewtwo. But I don't. Is he? That's not a good idea. I don't think, because we can just whittle this thing down and put Mewtwo in range of getting KO'd by Giratina, right? I don't like that play from our opponent. Honestly, I don't think that's a good play. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter though, does it? I don't know if it really matters what our opponent does. So, if he attacks our Druddigon, we have red in hand to take the KO here. So, yeah, I think we're just waiting. Honestly, I don't know. And there's the leaf. Okay. So now what's interesting here is that I don't think we can KO this turn, right? Because we can only do 140. So yeah, I think we just wait yet again. Next turn we can leaf if he doesn't have another potion, basically. And yeah, we're going to be in a spot now basically to where no matter what, once we go in and we KO one of these Mewtwo's, our Giratina should be able to KO the second Mewtwo. It should definitely be in range here. If we had another Darkrai in hand, that would be also nice because then we could do 150 potentially in one turn if Giratina is already filled up on energies. But let's go ahead and just see exactly what happens here. I don't know if he has any more healing. He might, if he attacks us, he attacks us, right? I don't really think it matters too much. We'll see. Yeah, okay, so he is going to go ahead and side drive now. This is going to put him down into range, so it's an interesting scenario for sure. Now, Giratina does 130. That's 150 because we have red. So, I think here, I don't think we can lose. We could just go into another Druddigon, which is hilarious, right? Oh, man. Actually, no, I don't think we do win, do we? Wait a minute. I miscalculated entirely, didn't I? I think I definitely miscalculated because once we KO, we haven't taken a prize card yet. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. I was definitely confused because no matter what, we're getting revenge KO'd. I didn't actually realize that until just now. Okay, so interesting for sure. Interesting scenario for sure. Let's see. I don't know. How did I not realize that? What am I talking about this whole time? I was assuming that we would be able to, what is it? I was assuming we would be able to I thought for some reason we had one prize card, but we do not. We do not have one prize card. I don't know why I thought we did, but we do not. So very silly plays from me. I don't know exactly what we were thinking there, if I'm being honest with you, because here's the thing. Giratina has 170 HP, but if we attack with Giratina, then we go down to 150, which means we're getting KO'd no matter what, right? So definitely sort of an awkward situation in that sense. Yeah, so I think the healing actually did matter, and the second Mewtwo definitely did matter. So, okay, I don't know. I definitely misplayed somewhere in this game. I totally forgot. I didn't understand for some reason the math on how this all worked. I thought I would be able to go in and just take the KO and then not get KO'd in reverse, but no, that's definitely exactly what is going to happen here. Now, technically speaking, though, is we might be able to force a tie. Going into this Druddigon might be able to force a tie unless he has another healing card because he's going to take 40 damage. Are we going to force a tie? He's going to take 40 from the Druddigon. We can hit him with Darkrai. Oh, no, but that brings him to 60, right? Yeah, so that's 60 damage, and that brings him down to 30 HP, and Rocky Helmet will not be getting the KO, which is definitely a little bit silly. Okay, so we're 10 damage off technically from being able to get the tie because if he didn't play the healing card, then we could have whittled down a Mewtwo low enough to where after we KO with Darkrai, if he attacks us, then he would have died to Rocky Helmet, but I think we're just a little bit off of that damage, basically. I think the little extra healing that he had for Mewtwo, wait, he's going into Gardevoir? Why is he going into Gardevoir? What's going on? Does he have Leaf? Or does he have, he doesn't? What is happening? I'm super confused, actually. I am very, very confused. Anyway, though, we should be able to do something hilarious here, I think. Right? No, wait, but Giratina has 100. What am I talking about? I don't know what's going on. Why am I so confused? Why am I so confused? Giratina has 170. So if we KO with Darkrai, but if we KO with Darkrai, no, yeah, no, this is why I was confused from the get-go, I'll be honest with you. Okay, so there might still be a chance, actually, which is pretty funny. I think what we're gonna do is bring up this Mewtwo here. Is there a chance? I don't know if there is. I might just be kind of barking up the wrong tree here. I don't know exactly what's going on. This is pretty funny. But let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, we're gonna do all of this shenanigans, right? I think we target this this Mewtwo. We do extra chip damage to it, Basically, we want to force our opponent to not go like Mewtwo into Mewtwo, right? I think that's like really what it comes down to. And we have Sabrina. So, okay, the other Ralts is interesting. What does our opponent do here? He could retreat out, but if he does that, then like what can he do after that? I think our opponent might have misplayed. I'm actually really confused. There's too much math going on here. Oh, he has Leaf in hand. Okay, there you go. So what? He's going to attack with Gardevoir here? Is that what we're going to see? Yeah. Okay. So the Gardevoir comes out. He's going to take 40 damage. And then we just kind of get KO'd next turn no matter what. Is that what happens? That might be what goes on. I don't know, because we can go to Giratina, live a hit from Mewtwo. KO the Mewtwo. And then I'm actually lost. This game has gone far beyond. I was wrong from like my initial like conception of what this game was gonna be, and now I'm like floating in like outer space, and I don't know where we are in my planning and my strategy. Oh, there's another giant cape as well. That is actually not good. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's good for us. But he can't. He's 2-hit KOing our Druddigon, so he's taking 80 damage. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that very interesting? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we have no more cards to draw. We know that to be the case for sure. Sabrina might win us the game. Maybe it doesn't. I haven't determined whether or not we don't have any way to win this game yet, if I'm being honest with you. So I think what we're going to do here is just kind of ride it out, because he's going to attack us. He's going to take 40 more damage. And then what we can do is we can bring up Giratina if he doesn't have another Sabrina, which he might. We can bring up Giratina, live a hit from a Mewtwo, then KO. No, but now he's setting up the thing. So I don't know. I think maybe we needed to keep Cyrus. Is that what needed to happen? I think if we kept our Cyrus, we would have maybe had a win condition. I think I was very, very wrong early in the game. Oh man, we might have totally screwed ourselves in this game here. I was completely lost from the first game. What a doozy, though. What a doozy matchup. This is fun, but again, I think somewhere along the way, we probably didn't make the correct assumption or the correct play. I think that's why we're in the scenario that we're in. I don't remember everything that had happened previously. He's going into this Mewtwo now? What is happening? Is he going to hit? Okay, so he's going to hit with this Mewtwo. Yeah, so we already knew that this was going to be the case, right? We already knew this was all happening. I believe. So now he goes down to 30, right? Which is why this whole thing like didn't make really any sense. But what we can do though, right, is we'll go into this Giratina so we can live a hit unless he has red, which he honestly probably does have red in hand if we're being honest with you. But let's go ahead and then we'll do some extra chip damage here to the Mewtwo. And then, I mean, if we play Sabrina, he just goes into this Mewtwo, right? So, well, maybe not. I think what we could do is force a misplay from our opponent. If we played Sabrina and he goes into this Mewtwo, if he has red, the game is over anyway. But if he doesn't go into this Mewtwo and attack, then no, I don't think we can play Sabrina. I think technically speaking, what we could have done is played Sabrina and then forced the misplay. But he definitely has red in hand. Like, I know he does, so the game's over. But technically speaking, I think this game was winnable at some point. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and it wasn't winnable ever, like at any scenario. But I kind of feel like it was. Does he not play red? He has to play red. Why would he not be playing red? I think the whole point of Mewtwo being good now, or better now, is because of red, right? Man, okay. So what's going on here? What is happening? Our opponent's taking a very long time here. I don't... maybe he's either BMing me or he doesn't have red for some reason, and he doesn't have red in his deck. He's got 2 cards left in his hand. What would they be? They have to be red, right? Like, I don't know what he could possibly have that's not red. Right? But like I said, we could force the tie, because if he goes into this Mewtwo to KO, or to hit... What is going on? What is happening? Why is our opponent taking so long? He attaches to the Gardevoir. So no red from our opponent? Or does he just have red and he's, again, BMing? I don't know what's happening anymore. What is going on? I'm so... Listen, this might be... He goes into Gardevoir. Wait a minute. But he can't hit with this Gardevoir. Oh, no, he can't because he's got 2 Gardevoir. Okay. Okay, so that's his out. The second Gardevoir was his out, I believe, because now I don't think we can win at all, right? Yeah, the second Gardevoir came in clutch, actually. Yeah, I don't think we win. I don't think we can. This Mewtwo with 10 HP, I think, was always the difference. I think at some point along the line, I made the assumption that we would be able to, like, KO with Darkrai, but I think playing Cyrus probably early in the game was the misplay. You guys will watch this game back and you'll analyze exactly what I did wrong, which I'm sure there was probably some significant misplay that led to this game, you know, being over. But yeah, I think that's probably what happened. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm trying to think back to how this game played out. I think, honestly, maybe early in the game, we missed the opportunity to just hit with Leaf before his second Mewtwo was set up, and I think that might have been the difference, right? If I had to assume. But, yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. Wait a minute, though. He went into this Mewtwo, so I should have gone into the other Darkrai. But then if I did that, though, he would have just gone into something else. Like, he could have just gone into the Gardevoir anyway. Right? Like, he went into this Mewtwo because he wasn't losing, or wasn't getting KO'd by Rocky Helmet, but even if we went into the other Darkrai, he would have just gone into Gardevoir because I don't have any prize cards, right? So it didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered either way. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, anyway, we took the L there in that game. This is a long video. This was 40 minutes. That one game took forever, by the way. I'm definitely sure something happened in that game that I did incorrectly. I was confused from the very, very start. For some reason, my math didn't line up. I don't know what I was thinking. Again, I assumed that we would be able to, like, force our opponent into a Mewtwo and then get it to either KO from a Darkrai ability ping or Rocky Helmet. But I think somewhere along the line, maybe he healed more than I expected, or I just didn't do my math properly, so I ended up just not being in a position to win. Very, very close game. I do think that matchup's definitely winnable, but Mewtwo's much better now, although our opponent wasn't playing red. If our opponent was playing red there, I don't think we really ever would have had a chance to win. But technically speaking, the healing was super clutch from that Mewtwo player. I think that definitely changed things. But either way, listen, you win some, you lose some. I haven't played many games with this deck, so I'm still certainly working out the kinks on exactly what some of those matchups look like and processes look like. But anyway, guys, there it is. There's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is an extremely, extremely powerful deck. I think that Giratina is really good. There's a couple of different ways that you can play Giratina. You can play it with Magnezone. I've seen people play Druddigon, Magnezone, Giratina. People have also paired it with Mewtwo in sort of different Dawn, combo decks. We'll have to see. I think for right now, the Darkrai Druddigon version of Giratina is probably the best. Definitely has its counters, definitely has its downsides, but overall I think it's one of the strongest new decks in the entire game. Comment below what you think of the deck list, what you thought of that gameplay. It was certainly interesting gameplay, I'll tell you what. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Stay tuned. We're going to be covering not only the best decks, but the overall, best strategies and how the metagame will be changing over the next couple of weeks. I'm really, really excited to see exactly what happens to the format and to Pokemon TCG Pocket competitively. Also, ranked battles coming, like I think tomorrow, which is super exciting, and we'll definitely do some ranked gameplay here on the channel. But anyway, guys, peace out. Have a good one. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time, and yeah, bye.